Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
You're welcome back, and now to our big conversation. President Bola Tinibu has slashed the number of officials that will accompany him and other top government officials on any local and foreign trip. The measure, according to Ajuri Ngalale, the presidential spokesperson, is part of massive cost-cutting measure of the president, a new policy which affects the office of the president, the vice president, and the first lady. Goes as thus. 1. Local security agencies should be used for the president's protection whenever he travels to any state within Nigeria instead of traveling with a high number of security details from Abuja. Number 2. For any international travel, only 20 individuals are allowed for the president, 5 for the first lady, and 5 for the vice president, and only 4 for members of staff to the minister. 3. In terms of local trips, only 25 members of staff are allowed for the president, 15 for the vice president, and 10 for the first lady. According to Ngalale, the president is determined to bring the total sanity and prudence to the management of the commonwealth of our people. Quote, henceforth, the president is insistent that the notion of government wastage, the notion of recurrent expenditure being in excess, the notion that government officials will be allowed to conduct their affairs in a way that is different from what we are asking of Nigerian citizens with respect to prudence and cost management, those days are over, end quote. Still in the studio with me is Dr. Victor Ohai. Thank you so very much, sir, for being a part of our show and still hanging on the show today. You know, with what we've read, I think it's an opportunity and time we give their president a round of applause for doing that. But at the same time, should Nigerians be excited? Do you think Nigerians should be excited?
For me, there's nothing to be excited about it. I'll tell you why. It's simple. You know, politicians and civil servants are very, very clever. You will recall that you recall the story of this contract splitting, where if they say you are not supposed to spend more than 500,000, approve more than 500,000, what these politicians cahoot with civil servants will do is that they can spend 10 million, break it down into 20 times, 500 or 499,000 naira. 499,000 till they complete that money they want to loot for whatever reason. If you are cutting the number of people that are traveling, are you limiting the number of people that are traveling? The number of times that people travel. If you are saying, for instance, no more foreign travels, or you limit the number of foreign travels, that begins to make some sense to me. In addition to what has been said, they will find a creative way around it. Okay? I think what the president is doing, if you ask me in all honesty, there may be some sincerity, but they're also playing to the gallery. I think they've gone back to look at all the same things they were criticizing other governments for, and they think, okay, those things, maybe if we appear to be doing them, like they make us popular. So we are cutting down the number of people that travel by 60. Now, the question I want to ask is there a law as to how many people would normally travel? It's when you are quoting data, what was the original basis? Cutting down by 60%, was there before, were you supposed to travel with 100 people? Not to my knowledge. Maybe there's a minimum number they must travel with before that I'm not privy to. But now, if you are saying you are limited to 25, is that for the president?
Yeah, for the president. For the president.
25.
Yes.
So that means that before now, he was probably traveling with 100 people for every trip.
Well, all of this stemmed from the COP28, where they had lots of people, travel with him. So I guess because of the public pressure, they had to.
know that was scandalous. That was enough travel for 3 years, not even 4 years.
For everybody.
That was enough drainage of the economy, enough to last us for 4 years. We may not recover from it for 4 years. Now you are telling us you are traveling 25 people. Note, the 25 we talked about still does not stop a repetition of what happened at the COP. How do I mean? 25 people, maybe your personal physician, your wife, your ADC, and some of those core people. It will not stop him from taking, what is that popular, that lady that traveled, that influencer that was busy taking pictures. I'm trying to remember her name now. Do you remember who I'm talking about? Maybe you did.
Yeah, I don't think.
One of these influencers, yes. I think Toki Makiwa.
Okay.
She was busy going to Dubai, taking pictures and showing us. And I was wondering, what is her contribution to the environmental? And since she came back, has she said anything?
As regards
regarding the environment or any of things they went to do at COP? Has she promoted or advanced anything? Note, this number does not include people like that. What they have now said is the president's personal aides. So if tomorrow night you say, okay, I want to go with the Dangote, I want to go with this, I want to go with the Toke Makinwa and the rest of them, it still doesn't stop it. They will find excuses. These ones are not part of their direct retinue of staff. So my worry is this. You want to cut down costs. We should be looking at who is essential and truly critical for a travel. If the president is traveling for anything that is diplomatic and rest, the foreign minister ought to be there. If there are core people.
It all depends on the subject.
So for me, 25 may not cut it. Where it is necessary, if there should be 30, I don't see anything wrong with it. What should happen is a more responsible, you understand, process. And if necessary, and this is why I would have liked to see the president do it, let him, you may say it's not a job, but I want to see the president personally approve. If you are traveling, send me the number of people who are going with you. Come and defend it. You may say, why should the president get such level? He's too busy. No. Because those are the places where we hemorrhage. I don't know if you got what I'm trying to say. So the number that has been, for ministers, they say, is it 4?
4.
For heads of this thing, 2 people, So if, for instance, you're going for anything abroad as a minister, I cannot go more than 4 people. It's okay. We'll see how it works out. But as far as I'm concerned, there is so much more to look at than just looking at that number. That for me, is not it. And there was no basis for that number because there are, how do I put it now? For the president, we're looking at, we say, I'm trying to remember the number now.
20 for international.
Yes.
And 25 for local.
20 for international, yes, 25 for local.
Yeah.
There was something he said which I found very interesting. Security is everywhere. If you go to a state, there are, apart from the ADC, there is local security there. In
fact, it was part of what he said, that he won't have security coming from Abuja.
Yes.
Okay, that it has to be, if it comes to Ogun State, for example, yes, the security architecture in Ogun State should be enough to take care of everything.
Why does it need 25 people for a trip? Can we begin to break it down? I have supplied some. Maybe you need a doctor. Local, let's look at now, 25.
Yes.
Your medical doctor. Maybe you need a cook. I don't know. I've never been president of Nigeria before. You need a cook because you don't trust the cook at the government house in the places you are going to. You need your ADC, your wife, to avoid stories that touch. Who else? Your photographer. I want to build it up. Maybe we can
so that we can at least get to that mark.
Your photographer, your media aid, and then
we can go on and on and on and on and on, you know. But the crux of the matter is, how does this affect the common Nigerian? Is the presidency knowing, or does he understand that this
Did you see the entourage
when he came to
when he went to the mosque?
Yes.
When he went to the mosque,
it's massive, really,
on the island.
Yeah.
When people were saying, "Need power, need power," we are hungry, we are hungry. And I asked myself, why do you need so many vehicles?
And why is he realizing this? You know,
why do you need so many vehicles for every trip that you go to? You know the amount of fuel that it will take. You know the amount of drivers. You know the allowances that will go for. Why do you need so many? Why did it have to take a public outcry? If you criticize Jonathan, criticize Obasanjo, and you, of course, were afraid to criticize Buhari, but you criticize all these people, all those while. Why did you have to? Why didn't you, from day one, implement the presidential jets that we have right now? Before they were criticizing previous administrations, they have gotten there now. They are not cutting down. That's why their children can take private jets and go to wedding ceremonies in Kano or wherever. So you see, the cost of governance, because for me, I think what they have done is a sort of metaphor for reducing cost of governance. It's not the actual reduction of cost of governance. Okay, let us start by reducing the number of people that we travel with. But is that the only area where we're hemorrhaging? So many areas that we need to look at, where all of these things are, all of these wastages are going to. What are we doing about them? Maybe, I don't know, let me just...
All right, so let's talk about a patriotism, because everything, falls back to patriotism, because if truly we are a patriotic people, then we should know what we are supposed to do from the onset, so we wouldn't come at the very middle and begin to amend and so on and so forth. Now the question is, do you think that this is in any form a patriotism from the presidency? The love for Nigeria. Because he actually made it clear that this is about cutting costs and ensuring that the commonwealth of Nigerians is taken charge of.
How much are we saving from that? It's important. I say it's just a metaphor. For me, that's what it is. It's not, if you want to cut costs, there are so many areas. Too many. You see, you can say it's a beginning, it's a start. It's okay. I don't have a problem with that. But we need, can he have the boldness to address our politicians? Because he's the number one politician in this country today. And it starts from the budget.
Exactly. Because with the 2.1 trillion supplementary budget 2023 and the breakdown and all of that, I think that should be where the whole thing should start.
You see, it's just, unfortunately, we are not doing a budget analysis here. But if not, you would have gone to see, I saw budgets, I think I spoke, it was in this station. I spoke, was it last week or where? Where things that are not related to a ministry, ministers are putting them in the budget. And you ask yourself, to what end and for what purpose? If there's a Ministry of Works, its job is to build, you can liaise with your colleague in the Ministry of Works and say, please go to my village and put solar lights. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. My people, the roads are bad. It's your colleague in cabinet. Please, can you include it in the budget for me? And then maybe in my own case, I'm in education and all that. I say, okay, say my village, we need school, though. We need one school of agri. Can you put it there for me? It's all for national development. It doesn't matter that it is in your village or the other person's village. But no, what they have chosen to do, and this is why I wonder, and I'm saying this because maybe the president is not aware, which is why discussions like this are important. Don't just carry a box and go and present before the National Assembly. Everybody just bring your budget. Have you taken time to see what your ministers, what the departments and agencies are putting in their budget? Is it in line with your agenda? For renewed hope? Do you take time to query them and ask as the chief executive, why is this here? To what end and to what purpose? I know that people in the National Assembly will also want to slot in things and all that, because many of them, for them, it's like they just put in things anyhow and then. But for those that you are responsible, call them and ask them, we want to do this. How is this in line with my objective? But I doubt that they have time to do that. I don't think that's a job that should be delegated. As a president, you should look at that budget. The document is there. I've seen it. I've been able to go through myself. There are line items. You understand? And so you should be able to say, okay, look, come. You have put this in the budget here. Why? How is this helping what I want to do this year? I put you in this place. What are you doing about, this is what we're supposed to achieve here this year. What are we doing about it? That is how I think the chief executive of the country he should take charge. Do you understand? Exactly. Otherwise, things like what you are saying here will continue. Because whatever is in the budget is a law. Once the act has been passed, it don't leave president hand. Not the directive matter anymore. Because it is an act of parliament now.
Yeah.
The only way you can stop it is to say finance not releasing money. That's the only way you can check it. But once it's an act of parliament, the budget itself, once it's passed, it becomes a law. And once it becomes a law, it means you should be able to implement it. Or else, if there's extra, you return it. And government people are not famed for returning money.
True.
So if the man has said that he's building or he's for transport for foreign travels this year, he's spending
X amount,
5 billion. If it is a law, it's a law, and that's where they become clever now. I can't travel with more than
20 persons.
20 people.
Yeah.
It doesn't say I cannot travel 20 times. I don't know if you get
with 20 different other people.
Yes. So I can go 20 times. I can do 20 trips. Maybe originally I planned to do 5 trips. But for me to exhaust that budget now, I will travel 20 times. It's in the budget. You cannot ask me questions. Oh, it's been approved. I'm not spending money that is not approved. It is meant for foreign travels. So they will now travel 20 times. So at the end of the day, what have you solved? So in order to solve this problem, take an interest from the beginning. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Take an interest in those details. Because the devil, as they say, is in the details.
Yeah.
If you ignore it, what you're trying to block, these guys are clever. Especially the civil servants. They know how to
maneuver their
They will teach the politicians, especially the new fight, how to go about it.
Now let's take a look at the role of opposition, right? Because it seems to me like whenever the opposition speaks about some of the ineptitude of the government, those in authority find a way to cover them up and do something. Form of subterfuge and all. It's now becoming a game of chess between those in authority and the opposition. So I'd love to ask you, if you were in the opposition, what would you do differently right about now with what the president has done in reducing cost? What would be your next line of action if you were in the opposition?
Well, I don't want to use the word opposition. Well, of course, act as checks and balances to government, and that's what the media is doing, which is why we're here at the point. And that's what we basically said in drawing attention. Unfortunately, in this country, if you try to criticize government or government actions, which is in good faith really, if there's something going on, you must speak out.
Exactly.
You are seen as an enemy of progress. Those who are chopping, so to say, see you like you want to take food out their mouth. But what we should be seen to be doing, unfortunately, there are no, apart from setup, I don't see any other CSOs that are in the political space anymore. They have all been compromised. And I'm praying, every day I pray for setup, and I hope that they will not go the way of the others. The media too, most of the media has been compromised in the sense that what you have now in terms of reporters are politicians in the newsroom, you know, who are beholden to one politician or the other, which was why just a few years ago, you recall the situation where two big editors, managing editor-in-chief of a major newspaper in this country, were fighting because they belong to different political camps. You know? So the media has gone that way as well. You know, but we will not stop talking. So what we're doing is what we're doing right now. We need to, if the media had not, the job of the media rather is to set agenda.
True.
And that's for public discourse. So, and that's what's basically happened. With COP, we saw those people who were extra to this thing. We had on item 7 in the person of Toke Makinwa, as she was called. You know, she added no value to it. You know, if we didn't speak, some of what is happening now would not have happened. You understand what I'm saying? So, and we have had a situation where, what you call, how do I put it now? The Edus matter came up. We have talked about the issue has been brought to the front burner. Otherwise, it would have been buried, you know, as all in the family. You understand? So the pressure is what compelled the president now to suspend her and Sadia. You understand? So, unfortunately, I don't know if there's any opposition. Going back
opposition parties.
There's no opposition. The opposition is all but dead right now. Why do I say so? What you find is a situation now, what happened in Lagos State is happening at the national level now. It's going to be a one-party state very soon. You can see a Wike who is supposed to be in the opposition, but it's not. So he's how do I put it now? He's a ruling party's man in the opposition. Yeah? So what that is, they're having people, which is like what you say in news review. If you're a governor, if you don't want to be taken out by the courts, which is now a part of the executive, unfortunately, although it's supposed to be independent, then you will work for the government. If you don't work for the government, the courts will take a decision and decide your fate. You know, so right now everybody is aligning. So I don't know if there's an opposition anymore.
Now, with this alignment, what do you see the future of Nigeria turning to in the next couple of years from now? Because if in the first 1 year of Tinibu's administration, we're already seeing what seems like a one-party state in our country, what do you think it would look like in the next 3 years?
I pray that this government, so you will notice I'm in a prayerful mood this time around. My prayer is that this government better act well, better do good by us, or we're in deep trouble. Why do I say so? Clearly, when you stand up as opposition now, they will run you down, rubbish you, and call you all sorts of names. It's no longer healthy. You can see Bill Okupe has resigned from Labour. Watch out, what's his next move? You heard G5 talk the other day. That they are going to work for the president. So who is the voice of the common man? Unfortunately, it's like the common man has no voice anymore. So our prayer is that the government better do well by us, or we're in deep trouble. Because if you have a maximum dictator, and there's no opposition, God have mercy.
Exactly, that's what it is. God have mercy. And we hope and pray, just like Dr. Victor did say, we hope and pray for a Nigeria where, opposition remains opposition, and because they are very, very important to our democratic, landscape. We want to see a Nigeria where everyone's hand will be on deck to ensure that Nigeria becomes what we hope Nigeria would be in the future. I'd love to say thank you to Dr. Victor Ohai for being part of our show today. Thank you so very much, sir. And to you, we'd love to say thank you so very much for also being part of our show today. But please do remember to visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Follow, like, and comment on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. Subscribe to our YouTube channel also at Enterprise TV 7. I am Henry Igwebike. I'll see you tomorrow for yet another awesome discussion. Bye-bye.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.